Okay, so I'm making banana chocolate chip muffins. We have some nut allergies at church, and so I'm leaving the nuts out, but I'm substituting the chocolate chips in. And I am also going to do something different today that I've not done before, and that is I'm going to use the mixer to blend up or mix up, cream my bananas. So the recipe called for 4 medium ripe bananas, and so I've already cut up 3 and put 3 in there. So I'm going to do the 4th, and I'm just doing little rings that I'm then going to mix up with the mixer. And then also I wanted to mention that I'll take my banana peelings and put those in the compost so that they can compost. So we'll see how this goes. This is something different that I haven't done before. Okay, hey, the bananas are mashed up. And so I'm using Sally's baking recipe for banana muffins. So, but I'm doing banana chocolate chips. And she says at the end of her recipe that you can use either, pecans, walnuts, or chocolate chips. So, but she suggested that. So we're going to see how that goes. Next year, what we're going to do, instead of creaming our sugar and our butter together, we're just going to add the butter and the sugar. We're going to add our wet ingredients, what goes in with our wet ingredients. And so you may say, well, how much did you just add? So I did 6 tablespoons of butter, which is a half stick and then half of another half stick. And I did brown sugar. I did 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar. And then we're going to do 1 room temperature egg. If you have brown eggs that you keep on the counter, then your eggs will already be at room temperature. And I say brown. I said brown because we have eggs from our hens that we will keep on the counter because they've not been washed, or the protective coating's not been taken off the outside if they're clean when we collect them. And so they're already on the counter. Or if you have them in the refrigerator, of course, just take them out and warm them up. Funny story, when we went to England one time, we were in Cornwall, and we were picking up groceries, and I learned that in Europe they do not refrigerate their eggs. So that was something different that they do, or they don't do, that we do. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Let me double check and make sure it's just a teaspoon. Yeah. I always want to put a little bit more, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just add the teaspoon of vanilla, and then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of milk. I have been buying whole milk because I know that whole milk keeps better in the refrigerator for longer. It's just really, most of the time, me and Jonathan at home, and so we don't drink milk as fast as if there were, just more than us. So now I'm going to mix that up. Smells like bananas. Okay, and I have measured out 1.5 cups of freshly ground soft wheat berries, and it's 1.5 cups. And then to that 1.5 cups of flour, I am going to add my other dry ingredients. Well, I've already added some of the dry ingredients to this. I went all the way to the top, and I didn't print this out. Okay, so I've already measured out the teaspoon of baking powder and the teaspoon of baking soda, And then there's half a teaspoon of salt. So that's in with the flour. And then we're also going to do, let's see, this is half a teaspoon. So we're going to do one, I'm measuring with half a teaspoon, so I'll do 2 half teaspoons of cinnamon. And then I will do 1/4 of nutmeg for this recipe. And I'm just going to mix those in to my flour. And I like to slowly add my dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. So I will take let me put my lids back on. I want to show you, let me show you these. These are spice jars, and my dear friend Carla McPeters, she had showed these to us, and they're just glass jars, but you get these labels, and then you get a label also to go on your top of your lid, so that when you take the lids off, you know which jar that those lids go back onto. And then, well, I've got multiple jars of cinnamon, so we have another jar that's like this one in the cabinet with cinnamon on it. Here's a cream of tartar. You can't really see the cream of tartar label, but then on top it says cream of tartar. I use the cream of tartar to substitute when I don't have any baking powder. So you can do 1 teaspoon, or 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You can do a half teaspoon of cream of tartar and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and that substitutes for you. Okay, I'm going to turn my mixer back on and add my dry ingredients. In this recipe, I also use dark brown sugar, so it's going to have a darker tint to the batter. You can see it's a nice color for banana nut muffins. Or they're not really banana nut, they're banana chocolate chips. So with that in mind, I'm going to add in, I have coated my chocolate chips with the flour that I use in my batter. I'm just going to mix all those in. I'm going to stir those in, fold those in. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get my muffin pan, and I'm going to add my muffin cups to the muffin pan. Okay, so now we're going to put these in the oven at 425, and then we'll let those bake for 10 minutes, and then we'll turn it down to 375. That's to give a nice, quick, fluffy rise to the muffins. Okay, so I just took the banana chocolate chip muffins out of the oven, and they look scrummy. I was expecting them to be a little darker because of the brown sugar, and they've got a nice golden color to them. And we used the mixer, which was a little different. And so there are small chunks of banana that I can see in the muffin, but I think it is a good consistency, and the kiddos will get a bite of banana every now and then. So, and they do have chocolate chips in them. Again, you could put pecans or walnuts in there. If you like, you could do half a cup of pecans and half a cup of chocolate chips if you like. So thanks for watching, and I just want to say this is what works for me mostly.